And I'm gonna put him back on this corner. And now I'm gonna go find those fish that are up on the surface. And I can tell what direction they're going. Usually when you find these fish, they're in a northwest, usually like a northwest pattern. They're into the current, they're into the wind, and they stay that direction. Allows me to get that boat positioned and around them. What I like to do when I come across those fish, okay, the wind is going this direction. I'm going into the wind. I'm gonna tell PJ when that school of fish gets over here on this side of my boat, I'm gonna tell PJ, drop the fly in the water. He's gonna kick that fly in the water. I'm doing 15 knots at this point. The boat's gonna pull that fly line out. That fly line's gonna skip on the water. And I'm gonna turn my motors. I'm gonna wrap my boat around these fish. And I'm gonna get up in front of them and I'm gonna go to neutral. And he's gonna leave that fly there, maybe add a couple bumps to it and wait for those fish to come through to it. Okay, that is an absolute deadly technique for tuna on the fly here. And I'll tell you why is, if I would have pulled that boat in front of those fish and then had him start working a cast out, they would already be under us and gone. This technique is combining the cast and the boat. You're using the boat to make the cast. Look at it that way. We're not trolling the fly. We're throwing the fly out there so the boat can pull it out quick enough that we can stop and be ready for that fish to come through it. And that's usually where you get bit. Now, same technique, if he doesn't get bit and I've got the fish with me and I'm chumming, I turn that boat and I get on a drift, and now we're shake and bake, okay? Shake and bake to see if we can't get bit. Nope, reel them up onto the next school. Got it.
So technically for IGFA, the boat has to be in neutral before you put the fly in the water, is that right?
I don't do that IGFA.
Yeah, but I mean, isn't that true?
No, I think that it is, you can't hook them in gear.
Oh.
I think that's how it is. There's a guy coming out this year that wants to do the 35, 40 pound class.
Yeah.
I think it's going to have to be on 8 pound. And he's been going over all that with me. I believe that's what he said. I thought it was with what you're saying.
But if you're going 15 knots, it probably takes quite a while.
And they're not going to eat it at 15 knots.
Yeah.
15 knots, that's straight. All we're trying to do is position. We're trying to position these fish. And we may get in front of them. They may go down and go that way, and the fly never even saw them. PJ, bring it in. He just rips it back in the bucket, and he holds on. I'm still pounding in, pounding into the waves, to get in front of the next school. We can see school after school after school after school of this all day long, right? These fish are just coming down a certain line there. They're finding these anchovies, bless you, and they're pushing this bait up, and then they're going right back down. They may not let our boat get closer than 50 yards. That's where it gets tricky. Okay? If it's an up-down day where they come up and show, they can feel the pressure and they're down. And when I say they're down, they're at 175 feet like that, right? So that technique I went over where I can get around them, get that fly out 100 feet off the boat and kind of wrap in front of them and be ready for them to come through, that's the trigger. That is deadly on these fish.
So you're trolling at 15 miles an hour?
No, I'm just using that speed as a reference of trying to get in front of the fish. I may be going 25 knots to get in front of these fish.
Yeah.
Those fish can do 20 knots, easy. If I'm trolling, like the tuna feathers and those, I'm usually between 6 and 8 miles an hour. Yeah, right around there. Not, you can do a little faster troll. Some guys like 7 to 9. It depends on your boat, upswell, downswell, with the current, against current. But like I said, that troll, really the idea of that is a doorbell. Okay. One other technique I'll do, another way we may see when it comes to open water. Have you guys heard of fish when we say we saw some tuna puddling or breezing? Let's say it's a pretty flat, calm day out there. The wind chop's not on it yet. You can look out on the horizon, you'll see these spots of nervous water, okay? It's the fish creating a wake from their movement in the water. They're in the up top of the water. And sometimes you'll see one little porpoise fish or one little jumper. Okay? I may be up top in my glassing, and I may see this from 3 miles away. And now I'm on the motor to go get over to them. There's another doorbell situation I like, and for bluefin, I really like this situation, is when we see those fish puddling or breezing, I love getting the boat in that area and putting a live bait out and slow trolling it with having that fly rod in the basket ready to go. Okay? It allows you to be a little more stealthy. Now these fish, when they're puddling and breezing, they're not coming up and foaming and going down real quick. They're usually consistent, usually staying up. So I don't want to slam the boat into them and put them down, but I can get out in front of them and I can put that doorbell out, 50 yards if I want. That goes off, drop that fly in, boat's in neutral. Now I'm just gonna go straight to neutral. When I say slow trolling, you guys, what I'm doing is I'm putting a live bait through the nose, hooking through the nose, putting it out the boat, and my motors are just in gear. I'm going maybe 2.5 miles an hour, okay? And I'm just keeping that live bait out there. They can't resist it. Well, they can, but they like that better than a fake fly. That eats, that says, hey, they're here and they might be in the mood. To neutral. All right, guys, get out there, shake and bake it, let's work it. I'm just gonna start chumming, okay? And I may be able to stop that school, even the bluefin, even just stop that school, get them enough to at least get one hook up, okay? Maybe I watch them on my up and down, on my fish meter, I see, oh, they're under us, or on my side scan, they're here, they go under us, we didn't get bit. Bring them in, guys, back in gear, put out the slow troll, let's wrap them again. Okay? Looking, the doorbells and something that says, hey, there's fish here and they're willing to eat. That's what I'm looking for, right? I mean, when it comes back to the fish management, we want fish that are biting, right? We can drop that fly behind the boat and drive around real slow all day, but that doesn't mean anything. Always going to be a combination of the both. Okay, you don't ever want to just be out there with just a fly rod. You want that bait. You want to have bait. You want to have chum. You want what those fish want. You want to have that with you as your arsenal. And if it's a really slow day and hey, what, catch a couple tuna on, a bait rod to take home and throw in the freezer and throw on the barbecue, why not? You know what I mean? So the last one we'll talk about, open water and kelp day. These are the best days, right? These are the days, okay, now we're kelp focused and we may come across some surface fish, may pick a fish up on the troll. We're fishing everything now, right? Looking for tuna in the open water, looking for kelp to catch Dorado or yellowtail, right? These are the days. These are the days built for life. Starting to see some surface activity, okay, or let's call it signals. Okay, I get into an area, we leave the dock, I run an hour and a half and get down to, the upper hidden bank that I want to fish. Get down there, okay, I know the fish have been in this area because I know what's been going on the last few days. Maybe shy of that, I know that there's been a zone of kelp patties holding. Well, let's slow it down here. Now I'm going to pull back on the throttles. I'm going to slow that boat down. Now we're going to get in ready mode. Let's put that troll out. I'm going to get up top. I'm going to glass and look for patties. We're basically just running an open water troll while I look for patties. Okay? I put this picture on here for a reason. When we think of Dorado, who's caught a Dorado on a fly? Okay. When we think of a Dorado, we think of structure, right? Usually, I don't know who's caught them, if it's been open water or on a fat or a grass line or some kind of structure, but usually we associate them with kelp. But in these situations, with that troll out, it's doing two things. It's allowing me to slow down, to really glass and find that prime patty that's 4 miles away. But it also can be, even Dorado can be in open water. Dorado could eat that jig and I could start chumming. I could stop a whole school of Dorado, right? Yellowfin could eat that jig, stop a school of yellowfin. Skipjack could eat that jig. Open water yellowtail sometimes can eat that jig while we're looking for patties. Now what I can do on this scenario, on these days, when I think about an open water and a kelp day, and I think about my time management, I may not drop the fly back, okay? I may take my kelp patty here, and I've already got my trolls out. It's the front of the boat. I got my trolls out already, an outrigger and a pull. I've got my tuna feather, and I've got a tuna feather. Hell, we may have 4 or 5 of them out. And I'm just gonna troll and wrap that patty. And I'm gonna get closer and closer, and I'm gonna check my side scan. And I'm gonna check my side scan again. But I'm gonna keep those trolls out. I'm not gonna stop at that patty unless I get bit, right? Because we need to cover ground. Okay, so back, even though we're trolling, same thing. Run those trolls by the patty. See if you get bit. See if you mark fish. Did you mark fish and not get bit? Oh, well, why didn't they bite? Maybe they didn't want the jigs. Now we can kill the motor. Now I can set us up for a drift. Now we can target that patty, throw some chum, and try and turn those fish on. Right? This is the best case scenario. This is anytime we can have patty fish and a fly rod involved, that's what we're looking for. Right? Open water game, some days can be trickier, some days it can be easier. Have you guys heard people say that the fish were lockjaw today?
Say again? Oh, yeah.
Have you ever heard people say the fish were lockjaw out there?
Oh, yeah, they usually are.
I mean,
Or a line shot.
not even a line jaw, just lockjaw. I mean, I've gone down to 8-pound on Dorado with a size 4 hook, you know, trying to get them to eat, and they won't do it, right? Just complete lockjaw. But yeah, where I'm going with that is you just have to stay on top of these fish. You got to get them to bite when you're offshore like this. You can stop a school of fish. We can have those flies out there. I can have them reacting to chum. I'm metering onto the boat. If I give that 15 minutes and we are not hooked up,